This episode of Bad Breaches is brought to you by cases that are now bad law. Did you spend hours struggling with Pennoyer v. Neff, only to realize 2 classes later it didn't matter anymore? Yeah, so did we. Here's to the cases that took up our free time but ultimately didn't matter. Thanks for nothing.
So today we have a very special guest. Guest, who are you?
Hello, everyone. My name is John. I'm a 1L here at our law school, and just so happy to be here today.
We're happy to have you.
Yes, John, really happy to have you. We're all in classes together, so John, he knows the struggle and the funds of law school. And so we brought John on today because we wanted to talk about testing. I was going to let you jump in.
I missed the cue, but
That's fine. We'll get it in editing. We're going to talk about testing. And testing is a whole different animal in law school compared to like undergrad. Do you want to like jump into like how it's different, why it's such a big deal?
Yeah, I think obviously the biggest thing right off the bat is that across all our classes, of the doctrinal classes, we do have one single grade.
Only one?
Only one, and that is an entirely foreign concept to me. And there wasn't, I think in undergrad, the biggest chunk one assignment had was maybe 70%, but even then they were kind of like benchmarks or kind of like checkpoints along the way, right?
Yeah.
So that's probably the first thing that just hits me right in the face.
How do you feel about that, John? Is that stressful to you?
I think it's incredibly stressful. I think as many of us have experienced, there's tests where even when we do study, we still look down and blank.
Right.
Yeah.
And that blank never really goes away. So just having that happen on top of how much weight it is going to carry, I think it's just going to be an entirely new concept to everybody.
Right. And for me, what I find so daunting is the requisite tasks for studying. So you don't just get to like peruse your notes, tidy them up, type them up, you have to outline, and it's a comprehensive outline. It's important points. Some outlines are like 100 pages long and for a single class, and like to hear people say that, really like the anxiety just like ramps up.
Right.
Because when do you do that? When do you have time to do that?
Exactly.
Knowing what to include, knowing that it takes longer because we've never had to do that before. So like having to do that for our 3 classes for the first time ever, knowing that like this is going to help us on our exams, and also having never taken exams like this before, it's just a lot. It's a lot.
And I think, just kind of thinking about how many hours in a week you have. If you take, I think we have 15 hours of class a week.
Right.
I think it's 16.
16? So then they say you're supposed to have 3 hours of studying on top of that. And then that, to me, usually takes up all my reading for class.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And then on top of that, there's supposed to be some, like hidden fountain of more hours in the day where outlining gets to fit in.
It's when you're sleeping is when you're supposed to do
Yeah,
that.
that's exactly
I don't know about y'all,
it.
but I started typing in my sleep.
Oh, of course. That's
Mhm.
the most useful
It's
thing to do.
super-
60 words a minute? Something
Oh,
like that.
65.
Oh.
Okay, come on.
Jesus.
I know Maven speaking. Okay. So, speaking of like testing and the one grade thing, one thing that I don't think I really realized until I got here was how big a deal the curve is.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Do you want to talk about that, someone? Guest? Joseph?
Joy. I don't know much about the curves.
Okay, so the curve, I think that just like makes everything so much harder, especially because you get here and everyone's like, oh, just focus on yourself, just do your best, like whatever you can do. But then at the end of the day, like, even if you do your best and there's like X amount of people that are better than you, then I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
And I mean, I hate to say that, like, I hate to say that, like, it's very possible that you're just like not going to do well, but like that's the reality. And that's just so daunting on top of the fact that it's like only one grade.
Yeah,
like
one grade.
It's the final. So like it's not even that you necessarily don't grasp the topics as well as everyone else. It could just be that day. Like, what do you do if like that's just a bad day for you? Or like your brain shuts down, or like you have like a mental breakdown, or like something happens. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, no, I mean,
so stressful.
It's super anxiety inducing because like, well, also I think a part of it is like the psychological aspect overall is, so like you were saying, John, we don't have any other assessments up until that point. So not only do our professors not have anything else to grade us on, but we have really no idea whether or not we're actually getting the material correctly.
Or like, and it doesn't even matter if you're like generally getting all of the material. Like, if you don't know that you don't know something, then like you don't realize that until it's too late.
And then it gets back to this kind of idea about each class, and I know it's something that I've experienced almost each class, is that there's at least one aha moment that I get, but it's only after the professor says it. And the idea that there's this almost constant flow of aha moments that I'm not getting myself to, and then I have to somehow get myself there to figure it out.
There's a gap between like what you're able to do alone. I think at this point, we're supposed to get better at that, and that's part of the process. You know, fingers crossed. But that at what point? I mean, your professor can only say so many things in class, especially when the dynamic in class is like cold calling, and the structure there is supposed to be like the dialectic and the dialogue happening between like one student and the professor at a time, and sometimes multiple depending, but just knowing that you're responsible for bridging that gap in the end, that ultimately like it's up to you to make sure you know everything you're supposed to know, is terrifying.
Well, and just like kind of going back to what John says, like even if you do feel like you're getting like 90% something out of like the case, then that's still like 10% that you're not getting. And so like what if that happens on the exam? What if you just like miss spotting like a huge issue? Like, and
the curve is just scares me. I like think I had a good thing to say right there, and I lost it because I just like fell backwards into this idea that like it can really come down to you bringing up one small point that you like the next person doesn't.
And I think what we're getting at is it might not be all these things as individuals, but it's just the culmination of all the assignments and all these moments that you get from class, and then on top of the idea that if you don't understand this moment, there's probably someone who does. And then at the end of the day, you know, obviously very much long term, but that's the comparison that we're gonna like be graded on, and that's a whole new ball game for anything.
So I mean, that kind of just like logically takes us to the next point is, how do you feel about like the hyper competitive aspect, especially here at our school? I feel like we're not super competitive as individuals. Like I think we mentioned this on the last episode about how everyone seems very collaborative and like making
not in like a cheating way, just in like a
but no, like
disclaimer.
No one has violated the honor code
that we know of. But no, everyone seems very much like concerned with each other's like well-being and like very supportive. That was the word, supportive. And I know it's not like that at a lot of places, but having that supportive atmosphere, but knowing that it's ultimately going to come down to like the competitive spirit of the classroom and of the grading process. I don't know, there's kind of like a disconnect there for me.
So I don't know, I feel like I said, it's really hard not to compare yourself to people, but I also feel like if you're like constantly comparing yourself or constantly trying to see what other people are doing, it kind of takes like, that's just so time consuming. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you do that and read and study? And like we already said that there's not enough hours in the day. So like, while I do think that it's really important to like recognize that there is a curve, I think that it's equally as important to just kind of focus on yourself. And like, if you don't make the grades you want, then kind of just bounce back next semester.
And I do think something that'll be interesting, and why I think this, you know, kind of getting our ideas down is such a great idea. because I have to imagine that after first semester grades,
Yeah.
the support of this and this kind of like little community we're forming is going to take some kind of turn. And I'm not saying across everybody's going to change, but like something's going to happen. So it'll be interesting to look back and how we think.
I think that it'll also probably be a little bit better though, just because, I mean, right now we're like we said, we don't know how we're doing. Like, and I don't know if like the way that I study is more effective than the way that either of you study. So I think that like having grades to kind of like give you some feedback, like at least you know, and you can adjust from there. I do think that like that's when the teeth will come out though.
Yeah, I do, and I'm worried a little bit about that because I feel like I've done a good job like making friends so far, and like grades haven't been a part of that calculation for me at all. Like, you don't have to worry about competing when there aren't any grades.
Right.
So I'm curious how y'all think that will change moving forward as far as like the relationships we're like building now. Do you think that like if like one of you does like substantially better or substantially worse than like someone you're close to, like how do you think that could potentially like change that relationship?
Well, I think that we can already kind of see the seeds of those people who are going to let those things be foundations for how they treat people, and the people that are still kind of like harking on their undergrad GPA and they're bringing up their LSAT and where else they got in. And I just think that those people are going to be the people who, you know, really take the exam results to heart and to their head and to their entire body, to the point where it's going to manifest itself in a lot of their interactions coming back in the spring semester.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that will be something super interesting to keep an eye on, especially just because you go the whole break without getting your grades, and then you get them on like the third day of second semester.
Yeah.
So like it's like not even something that you'll have time to like process with.
Scary thought.
Like over the break. You know what I'm saying? Like you're thrown back into it, and then you have to deal with all of these things at once.
Right.
So it'd be really cool to see that go down.
It's one of those things where we're going to be presented with these grades, and it is going to be, you know, that like realization, you know, some people are going to do really well, some people just, as a matter of fact, aren't. So, I mean, but it's going to be, we're going to be in the thick of it again, where we're not even going to have time to warrant what you could even call like a sufficient reaction to it, because it's
like you don't have time to like figure that out.
On to the next one.
On
to the next one.
You're going to have like a bunch of classes to read for. You're going to get your grades and you have to go to class. Like, it's going to be so...
I know.
It could be great.
And I don't know, I feel like I'm someone who takes a lot of time to process things.
Okay.
And so like I would really want to like have at least a week to like figure that out and like kind of figure out what I think that I did well, or like what helped and then what didn't. But then I feel like you don't even have the time to do that if you're like getting them right before you have to go to like class.
And not even grades wise, but just like content wise, I feel like that sometimes, like if you're building on previous content, like not so much in torts, but like in civil procedure, like if you miss like one little piece in the personal jurisdiction puzzle,
you're wrong.
I mean, it just feels like she keeps compounding. I mean, our professor told us, Professor Sivpro, she told us that one day she came in and she said, yeah, so I know it can feel overwhelming that there's just so much happening and you're a little confused, and then I just go and add more on top of it. I understand. But here I go again. So
get ready.
So it's just not having a moment to like take a breath.
Yeah.
To really like have time to like, here's what I know, here's what I don't know, here's how I'm going to like bridge that gap.
Yeah.
Before you're going on to the next thing.
Exactly.
And I guess that's what weekends are supposed to be for. But
it's
that collective side.
I get out of here on Friday and I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna take Saturday off, and then Sunday I'm gonna get after
every
it.
time.
And
every
then
time.
it's like Sunday at 9:30 and
every like,
dust is already collecting and stuff, and you're just like, oh man.
See, I do the opposite, and I feel like that really works for me.
So
I'm gonna get here at 10 a.m. on Saturday, and I'm not gonna leave until like
I almost vomited for those of
8.
you that can't see me.
No, but think about it, because then you get it over with, and then like if you go out on Saturday night, like you don't have to do work hungover.
when you go out on
When you
Saturday
go
night.
out.
No ifs.
I didn't
no
go out on
ifs.
Saturday. I slept, and it was so nice. I feel like bar review was like enough for like the whole week.
Well, it probably was. Great. I'm glad we're really doing this. So Joy, you kind of actually mentioned this earlier about like comparison, but I think it's really important as far as like, let's get into like the self-care aspect of like testing season and how like terrible we all feel about it. Is that like comparison is only going to like hurt you,
Right.
and so going into your exams. Well, after exams, I mean, there's no comparison to be had. It's just, it is what it is. Like, the list is set. Like, there you go. But going into your exam, it's only going to hurt you because you need to focus on doing your best, not, like, what you think the best is. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's all you can do is,
Right.
like, your individual best. Not John's best, not my best. Your best, Joy.
Thanks.
This is not specifically for you, but I'm just, I'm looking at you right now, so it worked out that way. Because like we said last week, comparison is a thief of joy. Oh, yeah.
That's cringy. Yeah, I think that that's also like really similar with like studying, like not just like content wise, but like if you're in the library and you're like, oh, that person got here like 2 hours before me and I'm like ready to leave and they're still here. Like, what are they doing that I'm not? Like, what am I not doing? Am I missing something? But then you kind of just have to trust yourself.
Yes.
Like I feel like, I mean, I just said that I spent all day Saturday in the library, but like I'm also not in the library I'm not at the library until it closes every day because
Right.
that's dumb. Like I know that I
It's
need
too
sleep.
much.
Like I don't understand.
And I think one thing that has helped me kind of take on those feelings of anxiety about comparison is that we all got here for a reason.
Right.
And we all know how we got here. And we all know that, and I think another reason that we're all here is that we weren't challenged to our full potential in undergrad, and we wanted something that would push us.
Retweet.
Yeah.
So we're here to be challenged, and we're also here because we have figured something out that got us here. And I think those two in combination really helped me jump over that hurdle, and that I'm the only person, in the same way that I'm going to have to perform, I'm the only person who I can look at if something goes wrong.
Right.
Absolutely.
And my mantra since...
Ooh, I love a good mantra.
I guess senior year of high school has been, it's only a mistake if you don't learn from it. And you
Okay.
might not get
John.
the grades this semester, but as long as you can take that and build from it,
Right.
I think it's all you can ask for.
Wow.
I agree with that because I just feel like something that's like so ingrained in like law school culture is something that I like to call the suffering circle jerk, where everyone is like, oh my god, well, I was in the library for like 1,000,000 hours last night, and then someone else is like, well, I was in the library for like 1,000,002 hours last night, and it's just like, okay, awesome, but like,
Yeah.
were they like 1,000,002 productive hours, or were you on Twitter for like 90% of that
Right.
time?
I think that's part of where like the competition is for us right,
Right.
now. So we're not like
because you don't have anything else to compare.
Yeah.
The only thing that you have to like compare to each other is like how
Right.
long you study.
yeah. So,
So, like-
you being in the library until 2 a.m. But I got a good night's sleep. So like
Right. Like, cool, you read the
Like,
case 7 times,
yeah,
but like,
I read it 3 times, but I'm very gosh, I wish words came easily. I'm very confident with my level of understanding, and
Right.
that's fine. If you need to read it 7 times,
go for it.
please do. But like the comparison there, I read it 3 times to understand it as much as I can. You read it 7 times to, I don't care. I don't care why you read it 7 times. Like, that's not about me. That's about you. Okay, but let's circle back for a second. So let's talk about how you study, because it's for me, I know it's very different than how I studied in undergrad.
Right.
So like, what things do you do to study, and when did you start doing those things?
So I guess I can start. So my study method is I've got my book, I've got a notebook for my notes when I'm reading the book, and I've got a notebook for in-class notes. And I will admit that this hasn't started yet, but at some point there will be a synthesis and kind of a connection between those that will eventually become my outline. But I am definitely a one-time reader. I will read things until I get them. Mm-hmm. But I will not read a whole case start over, read it again, because that's just never how I've studied. So.
Yeah, I did that the first, maybe the first week of class, that short week. And I would read a case the first time, and then I'd read it again and go through and highlight stuff, and then I would write my brief and then read it again to make sure that I got everything.
Jeez.
And it was a lot. That's why it only lasted 3 days.
Right.
Because it was just a lot. And I found myself doing it more for the ritual of saying, I read it 3 times, I did all the things. But I wasn't getting anything more out of the case having read it maybe the second time, but the third time, absolutely not.
It's a suffering circle jerk.
It's a suffering circle jerk, yeah. So what I do now is I read the case, highlighter in hand, I have paper next to me where I'm taking extensive notes, and then I close my book and I think about the case, and if I ask myself questions, and some of our case weeks actually have questions, so I go through those. But if I get to the point where I'm confused about something, I'll pull the book back out and make sure that I'm getting everything. Do you brief, John?
I do not brief. I have not briefed
I also
a
do not
single
brief.
Case. I think it's a waste of time. 100%.
I did it those first couple of days, and then I realized that I was doing it. I think I actually mentioned this in the last episode, that I was doing it for the cold call and not for the final. And I didn't want to be spending time where I could be learning the material, going through the ritual of doing a brief. That said, I did happen to have some extra time the other day, and I briefed my cases for contracts, and then I got called on in contracts for those cases. So I'm not going to say that briefing is not good. I'm going because that definitely helped me. But ultimately,
See, now I feel neurotic.
No,
You guys seem so low key about it, and I am very particular. I put on my headphones, turn on some brown noise to cancel out everything, and then I
brown noise?
It's
Never heard brown noise
It's literally
before.
just static.
What? White noise?
White noise?
It's a deeper white noise.
Oh,
Yeah, it's it's less annoying.
is this ASMR?
No, it's just.
No,
I'll
that's
play
a-
it for you after.
Okay.
Okay.
I've just never heard
Tweet
that.
at us.
Tweet at Bad Breaches if you have heard of brown noise and or listened to brown noise, because now I'm a little bit salty.
We'll actually post a poll, and you
Okay.
can vote on whether or not you've heard about it.
So I listen to brown noise, and then I read the case once, and then I close my book, and then I
So
have
do you listen to the brown noise when it's over? You read your case.
What? No, I listen as
Yeah,
I
no, Miss Mimi.
so rude. And so I'll close my book, and then I'll brief from memory, so I can because that forces me to actually understand. I feel if I take notes as I read, I'm not comprehending anything, and I'm just not putting it in my own words. So then I will open my book and skim through, and then you can see what you missed. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If you're writing things down.
You
You're
feel like you're getting more of it. I
Yeah,
think.
you're wait,
Yeah.
what was the issue? And then you have to go back and look. So that helps me. And then I don't know, I take separate notes for class, and then I combine them.
Yeah, I definitely take separate notes for class too. Have I started combining them yet? No, but I take them all in the same binder, so it's flipping the pages,
Right.
so you can see.
Yeah.
The notes I take at home are in great handwriting. The notes I take in class are scrawled on the Rosetta Stone. I don't know.
I guess what I do, you could call book briefing, although I really hate that people call it that. Because I definitely have got my nice little 4 highlighter system.
Yeah.
And I'm figuring out a few parts of the brief. It's just when you get into the kind of reasoning sections. I mean,
It's
when I was
impossible.
briefing, those were the longest parts.
Yeah.
I just feel
Same.
that's not going to come up on an exam.
That's
Yeah, no, I mean that section in particular, I think is for a cold call.
reasoning.
Yeah, I think so.
No, reasoning is definitely the exam, the part that matters for the exam.
You think so?
Yeah,
Well,
facts
because-
and issues matter less, and why they decided that matters more. That's what you're arguing. That's what you use in your argument.
Well,
I've heard the opposite.
You've heard that facts matter more.
I've heard that my philosophy about testing, albeit my limited knowledge, is that you often start with this older case, and then there's a lot of cases that add something new to it. And what's important is knowing the unique facts and how they change it. Because that's being able to take that and spit that on an exam, I feel is what they're going to be looking for.
Yeah, but like you learn why the facts matter and the reasoning.
It also, I think, depends on the class. I think that like reasoning matters on an exam much more in like Civ Pro compared to like torts.
I think
it matters
my
more in
thinking.
torts. What?
Really?
We're gonna talk about
Okay,
this
we're
later.
gonna pin this.
Yeah.
Bring
let
it back
out.
around
Okay.
to a different episode because that's very interesting. Look at this. Okay. I forget what's next. Oh, so the point of an exam.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the point of the exam is, and do you think it's like achieving that here?
I literally think it's just like I've said in the last episode, everyone says that 1L is just like them hazing you, and I feel like there's literally no good reason to just have one exam.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, John?
I don't see the point of having 100% of the grade being an exam.
Well, I guess it kind of like mirrors the bar if you think about it. Like that would be like the only reason that I could think of, and like law school is more about passing the bar than.
I don't see what the harm would be in having an assignment that's worth 20%.
I'd take 15.
10. I'd be prepared for 10.
I'd take
Something,
at
right?
least
Something.
1%.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
like,
That's what I like about legal research and writing is that we have like other graded assignments.
right.
Eventually.
Well, yeah. I mean, we have one.
Two.
We have
How many do you
graded
have?
assignments. Our first one's due. Oh, it's due today.
Student night. It's not graded though, but
Oh
it's
yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
cool. Have you started?
No.
Oh yeah, me either. Let's go do that. Okay.
Due today.
Yeah, I just the final. I'm sure there's a logic to it that the powers that be like have. I'm sure they've done this for generations, and it's like the thing to do. Does that stop it from being super annoying and like anxiety inducing?
Nah.
No, absolutely not. So I don't like it.
I guess in,
Oh, okay.
I guess in one way you can look at undergrad as kind of this like refining process that all got us here and is building
Yeah.
us towards
Right.
it. But to recognize how new law is in its structure, in its verbiage, and then to at the same time say, oh, when you get one shot.
Yeah. So I've been like reflecting a lot on my undergrad experience lately because like the things that I thought were difficult in undergrad are like paltry now. Like I could please give me a 15-page paper on literally anything. I would
Don't
do
that
it.
with me.
Literally anything.
Anytime.
Yeah, like please. But like I studied philosophy in undergrad, and I just keep looking back at like how much better my classes would have been if they had used a more Socratic method, like in law school. Like a cold call in a class on Plato, I think would have been like really cool and like really helped me more in undergrad as far as like grasping the material.
There certainly was not the pressure to complete every reading on a systematic basis in undergrad.
Absolutely
than it is
not.
now.
Absolutely not.
It was, I mean, I would be in classes that were 2-hour lectures that maybe
Half of-
one person would get called on and he would just kind of open a question.
Yeah.
If nobody answered, then it was just like, oh, well,
Yeah. The rest of it's just a lecture.
Yeah.
But like here, have you ever like what is your reaction if someone tells you they didn't read for a class?
Why are you here?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I did not read for Cipro last week. And then I got cold called. And let me tell you, the panic in my heart was like,
I could hear your heart beating from 4 rows away.
so I'm never doing that again.
Why did you not read? If you don't mind divulging.
Okay, do you ever just feel like your brain's like, no, I'm not doing this anymore? Like
Mhm.
that was it. Like I sat down to read, and my brain was like, LOL, no, we're not doing this. So I was like, I guess I'm not doing this today. I didn't have it in me to stick it out. It was Friday. I was like,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's the worst.
I've already gotten called on. I felt like I had some
I forgot about that.
I felt like I had some security, and I was wrong.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
I think that is a good point, though. I think if I do have a tip so far, I thought it was just me, but apparently it's you and me, Joy, that when my brain is just telling
That's
me
me too.
no,
Me three.
you just,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
just go with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I do what I like to call like proactive stress breaks. So like I'll like close my computer and like not look at my phone and kind of like take a walk or like do some yoga or
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
like try to like shut my brain down completely, because even when you're like scrolling through Twitter, like your brain still has to do stuff. It has to read. So that's not like a complete break. Like I just need to do something where my brain's like, nah.
I take my glasses off.
Oh, do
so
you?
I like can't
Can't
read
see.
anything. Like Because my vision isn't that. It's getting worse though. I've noticed it's getting worse just
Mine
in this
too.
just in this short amount of time we've been in school. I've noticed it get like worse. Like I used to wake up in the morning and I wouldn't put my glasses on immediately. I'd like go around, I'd have breakfast, I'd like do all those things, and I'd be like, like I need to put my glasses on. Now, as soon as I wake up, I'm like, like fumbling, like I'm like stumbling out of bed, and I like immediately have to put my glasses on. And it's been, how long have we been here? In school.
A month.
A month.
Yeah.
A month, yeah.
6.
I'm sorry, that's really upsetting. It feels like it's been 8 billion eons. Okay.
Really, I feel like it's been 3 at least.
Right.
Like it just.
I feel like it should be
piles on.
done. I'm in school now.
Graduating?
Right.
Legally Blonde was such a lie.
It really was. Literally anything like law-based, you're like, oh, okay. Also, can we just, I'm going to digress really quick. Have
Cool.
either of you seen How to Get Away with Murder?
No, I haven't watched it
Watched
yet.
every single episode. Every single episode.
So now that I'm a 1L, like the fact that she had like 5 1L like interns is just so dumb because we don't know anything.
Okay, the for those who don't know, the premise, the very early part of the show is she basically just picks the 5 people who do the best on her first test and then takes them to be like clerks.
Wait, when's her first test? Is it the final?
It's not. It's like their midterm or something. And I'm like, there's no
Whatever.
midterm.
They basically have to like come up with an argument, and if she likes it, then she picks you, and then
Yeah.
like you're doing like
Oh, that's right. That's
like
right.
work for her.
Ooh, maybe I can hate watch it.
We should. We should like. Oh,
I'm
you
a
know what we
fan. I
should
liked
do?
it.
No,
Well, you have a different perspective. Did you watch it? But you watched it before law school.
I liked it before law school.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now when I think about it, I'm like, this would literally never happen.
I feel like I could suspend
Where?
my disbelief and to enjoy it.
You can.
Yeah.
I think that we should like watch an episode a week and then just like end the show with like, this is what we felt about episode 1,
Whatever.
season 1 of How to Get Away with Murder.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Maybe when do you have free time?
That's a good point.
It's a whole episode.
so-
When do you have free time?
Never mind.
Never mind.
We can like watch it at the end of the night, like separately, and just like text each other notes.
Okay, sure. Anything else? Studying, test wise? Anything y'all are feeling? Anything we didn't touch on?
I don't know. Okay, if you're listening to this and you have an idea how to like give your brain a break before a final, please let me know. Because like my biggest fear is that I'm gonna go into the final and then my brain's gonna do the thing like it did last Friday where it's like, no, I'm not doing this. Like what do you even do then?
Don't.
Exactly,
Period.
but like how do you not? No, because especially in Civ Pro, like I said, I feel like my brain overheats and like halfway through the class I'm like, I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't let yourself think that. Like, grasp onto something that you do know, and then like work from there.
And we have to. I mean, we do have to remember we are at the beginning of a long process.
Yes.
And that we are going to be much more comfortable with the entire idea, and we're our microscope is zooming out, but we are looking at, and the whole assignment is the United States.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's something that like is really important to realize and puts it in perspective. So on that note, we're gonna take a break and you can enjoy a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Crippling Anxiety. Are you tired of getting a night full of restful sleep? Do you feel like it's too easy to breathe without the crushing weight of your student loans constantly plaguing your mind? Then you'll love Crippling Anxiety. Pick it up at your nearest law school. Crippling Anxiety. Your biggest problems are the ones that don't actually exist.
So now we've got some hot takes.
Ipsa Dixit, if you will.
Ipsa Dixit, if you speak Latin and you're study law. So I have one. We'll see where it goes. No one really needs to be in the library until 2-3 a.m. No one. Just there comes a point where you being in there is not helpful anymore. Like, you pay rent at home, you have somewhere to sleep, I imagine.
Hopefully.
One of our professors told a story that someone just had a cot in the library, and so they just literally just like lived there.
Wait,
They're like,
do they not pay?
they also had an apartment
Never mind.
somewhere.
I was
but
like,
they
that's a move.
but just
Do they not have to pay? Because
Right? Can I not?
just that is just a little too extra for my taste. Every single night. Like, I'm not saying there's not a time where you like just like hunkering down and like need to get some stuff done, stay there super late, cool. But like every single night, and you're coming back at like super early in the morning.
Ask crack of dawn. Okay. Sure.
You know, just
I have to retweet and favorite this hot take because, I mean, I'm one of the earlier people to get here, but especially on those longer days when we're out of here by like 4:35 out of class at that point, I am beelining to my car.
yes.
Like I
don't talk to me. Nope.
I can't. I have my 15-minute social kind of
Right.
wind down and
Absolutely.
everything.
That's a timer.
Yeah, I mean, but the idea that I'm getting out of being in class all day essentially, and then I'm about to go to the library.
Seriously, all day. Because I mean,
No,
we have
no.
10 a.m. most days, but 9 a.m. on one day. You know, so that's literally 9 to 5. That's a job.
Great.
And then the idea that you would stay in the library until when?
Okay, I stay until like 8. And okay, no.
Do you do any more work when you get home?
No, I don't. I leave my books here. I leave everything here, and then I go home. But if I try to go home and like give myself a break or like study at home, I know that I won't. And then like, it's like I'm
Fair.
trying to do everything.
Fair.
Know
differently.
yourself.
Yeah,
Self-awareness. Like, I know that if I like went to the library after class, I'd be looking at those books thinking, you know, it'd be great right now, being in my own damn house.
Yeah.
You know, so I
do have that space at my house.
I do
where
too. I have a desk.
I can set up
I
and
sit
have
down.
a library mode. If you
Mhm.
will.
I have a light that's actually very similar to the ones in the library that you can turn on. Like, I have the whole thing. I have my highlighters and like a cup, and like it's right there. I have sticky notes that I put on the wall for like reminding me things. That is like my zone.
Okay.
There you go.
See,
Like-
I don't know. I just feel like my brain doesn't work that way. Like if I'm at home, I'm like, oh, I'm 4 steps from my bed. Why am I sitting at my desk? I can study in bed, and then that turns into like, well, I can just like have Netflix going in the background. It turns to like,
jeez.
well, I'm just gonna like close my book and kind of just like take a break, and then I don't study. So I kind of like I can't do that if I'm at the library.
I respect that. It definitely was a process to get to the point where I could do that. Because I could say even a month ago that it was dangerous for me to try to take, get out of class and take an hour, 2 hours or whatever, and then try to get back into it. Because it is very tempting when you're already home to just...
Well, because you could do that so often in undergrad. Like,
Yeah.
get up, go to class, and then not think about school until the
Literally.
next day. But here we spend so much of I spend so much of my time like thinking about, okay, tomorrow, am I gonna get cold called? If I do, I better read this like more intently. My mind's wandering. I don't know if this is a tort, like all those things.
Right.
I'm getting in a dangerous point in almost all classes where I'm about to have to start going through the cold call level preparation again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not
Cool.
fun.
I still haven't been called in one of our classes, but I've been called well, I don't know. I got called again on like a tiny question in Civ Pro.
Did you raise your hand though?
No.
Oh, no,
Because sometimes she's like
She bounces.
She's like boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
On Friday, let me tell you.
Yes. I got a question on Friday.
Literally like 20 people. And I was
Mhm.
like, what is happening? She was like, oh, you thought.
She's very quick though. It's nice.
Yeah.
She's not
Yeah.
gonna sit on you.
Mhm.
Contracts.
I would hope.
Whole
Oh.
different game.
I got cold. Last week I got cold called since we've recorded the last episode, and it was harrowing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
time slows down.
Yeah,
Temperature's
it seriously
up.
does.
It's just
Your
not-
heart rate is through the roof. I tried to take notes, my hands were like shaking.
Yeah.
I could not take notes.
No.
Not possible.
About 20 seconds in, I realized I forgot my supplement. And I like just knew he was gonna. So like he turned around and like wrote something on the board, and so I turned to the guy next to me. I said, "Hey, I need to borrow your supplement. Like I need it." And he was like, "Oh, look here." He like gave it to me, which I feel like some places they wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
supported.
sex
It's like
Yeah, because I mean, there's like horror stories of there's like a great assignment that everybody has, and someone will check out the book and just sit on it,
yeah,
just sit on it, and just not.
unethical.
Yeah, honor code,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Literally.
red card, right
Boom.
there. Get out of here.
Did you have something?
I did, but I don't remember what it was.
Okay. Do either of you have a hot take that you'd like to present?
I have a lot of hot takes, but I don't think I have one for today.
I do not have a hot take. Oh, actually, there is something that I have seen in class a lot, and I think it
Ooh.
just gets to this kind of broader theory of more efficient studying.
Mhm.
And I get, at the same time, let me add a disclaimer that
Okay.
everybody studies differently. Everybody,
There's still ways to study wrong.
Yeah,
exactly.
So.
If you have a page in the book and you have 2/3 of that page highlighted, that is not helpful.
It's not.
It's not.
There's no way
Unless
that
you
can
have
be
stock
helpful.
and like Bic or Sharpie highlighters.
Right. But like literally the whole point of highlighting is like remembering, like, so you can read it.
Well, when you're flipping through to draw your eye that point.
So you're drawing your eye to the whole page. So
It's already there.
literally just like
Your
do a
eye's
little
already
tab
there.
thing.
That's kind of a premise. Like
Yeah.
in law school, you need to know everything on that page.
Yeah, cool.
And especially, I've seen it a lot. And like I said, no shade. No
All
shade
the
at all.
shade.
No shade from
Minor
John.
shade.
But it's like people will do it with the facts at the front and they'll just highlight the whole
Yeah.
facts paragraph.
And
I'm
all
like,
the facts don't matter.
I'm like, look, two of those are what we're talking about.
Right.
Like, 2 of those facts are why we're here.
Which is why I think that it's super important to like, for me anyway, to brief at the end. Because if I briefed at the beginning, like you don't know what's important until you get to the end. So
Well,
like, how
yeah.
am I supposed to?
Well, see, on my first cold call, I could not read. Like,
Right.
I was so nervous that I looked at my paper and I could not read it. So, like, I knew I had all the information there, but
Right.
my body reacted and I was like, well, sucks to suck. Like, you literally can't read this anyway. So that's kind of, like, pushed me more to, like, internalize the facts. And which has actually helped me, like, today I, like, brought up a case that we read, like, weeks ago. And it was relevant. I don't know if y'all remember that in contracts.
I do.
But because
it.
I like have started to like try to internalize the facts, it like connects it to the issue like in my head. So
Right.
even like just knowing that that was the case with the boxer and they have like 2 different contracts, I can like go down that rabbit hole and like find the issue in my head. Which I don't think I would be as good at if I was like relying on a paper brief like in class. But yeah.
That makes sense.
So yeah, I have to retweet and favorite that.
Thank you.
I hate that. Like, it's just because I try to be very like deliberate about the things that I highlight. Like I'm like, okay, ooh yeah, like I really need to like that's something that contracts professor will ask about. Like I definitely need to like highlight that. Or like this is the rule, like, oh absolutely.
And I've
like,
got
that
all my
matters.
colors and everything
Yeah.
that mean
Yeah.
different things, and I just see like
A whole
block
purple
of
page,
green.
yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Oh, so we're highlighting.
like if that's like your book, like are you not gonna try to like
Again?
resell it? Because like if that's me,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna buy it. If 90% of the book is
No.
highlighted, I'm like I'm good, but
Absolutely
thanks.
not.
So like what are you gonna do with that? Are you just
Just
gonna
gonna
keep
hold
it?
on to it forever. You're gonna
That
go
is-
back and
Right.
read Intro Torts.
Thinking forward, I mean, that is a certain, like, one thing I'm thinking about. It's like if I take good notes in my book and I do well in the class, that's my selling point. It's like,
Right.
look, I mean, I highlighted, but
But like, you know,
Right.
intelligently.
Right.
it's conservative, and I can explain to you my system. I'll be a great five-star seller.
Well, see, my book was rented, but they must have dropped out because there's only highlighting in like in my Torts book. There's only highlighting in like the first 30 pages, and then after that it's blank. So
It's amazing.
I had so the person that I bought my book from also had Professor Torts, and so it's like anytime that he says like something that's like, oh, I would highlight this in your book, it's like bracketed.
Yeah.
So like I already know what he's gonna say. So hopefully when I get cold called, I'd be like, oh, you mean like right here on this page? It says this. He's like, wow, how insightful. I'm like, you know,
because he talks like that.
yeah, he really does.
Exactly.
Okay,
Wait,
so
I have a hot take.
oh, you do?
So
Oh,
you
yay!
You found one.
I think I
From
sorted
the
through
ether.
all of them. My hot take is we're all in law school, so no one cares about your undergrad GPA or your LSAT or what other schools you got into. Are you there? No. So let's just drop it. If you're listening to this and you're one of those people, just let's move on.
Just chill.
Yeah, it's fine.
Just relax a little
I'm
bit.
not like holding it against you.
Yeah.
Unless you do it like after you hear this.
We're all gonna say like when we're done, we're all gonna say JD law school. Like
Right. Exactly.
you know.
It does. I mean, I think part of that attitude does kind of get back to there's no grades. There's
Right.
no nothing. So it's like, what do we have? We have our study habits now, and we have our LSAT.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, there's certainly like a minimum level.
Right.
And at the level that a lot of us scored, the difference between the highest person in the class and the middle ground or whatever is probably like 3 or 4 questions. So
Yeah.
hop off that horse.
So like the
Get out of
difference
my
between
face.
like our median and our 75th is 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's literally
Leave with you a question.
it's like 1%.
Yeah,
Like,
it's nothing. Like,
great.
especially when there's not like 1,000 of us here.
Literally.
And then the next level that some people go is they even want to talk about how they prepared for the LSAT. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, come on.
I have not thought about that since I took the
Really?
LSAT.
And I'll talk about that with, some of the buddies and some of the friendships I'm developing, but I've never used it as a way to like admonish and stuff.
Oh no, there's
Right.
there's definitely a line there between like, oh yeah, like I was really shitty the first time I took the LSAT and I like didn't study as a lot, and then I like had to pick it up and like really get into it.
Right.
So there's that, and then there's like, well, I took two commercial classes. No free advertisements on this podcast. I took 2 commercial classes, and I studied every night from 6 p.m. to 9 a.m. Like,
Right.
just really like
And
over
then I
the
scored a
top.
185, which is
Impossible.
top 200%. So get on my level. I was actually
107th percentile.
my GPA was a 7.9 on a 4-point scale, and I actually got into Yale Law School. But I just decided to come here to make you guys look better. Like,
No
no big deal.
It's just like, we don't need that. And you're just sitting there and
Right.
you look up and you go, I'm just trying to read torts.
Right.
Yeah,
I
like
don't-
get out of my face.
Are you ever cool check back with me after we get our grades? Sometimes I just want to say
Listen.
that, but that's.
I'll see you when you get cold call
Right,
tomorrow, okay?
let's talk in January.
Yeah, let's knock you down a few pegs. Come back to me.
But we
We
are.
want everyone to succeed.
There we go.
absolutely
Yeah,
do.
we're throwing a little shade. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it gets back to the broader point that we're all here. Let's enjoy
We're also
it.
all adults.
Right. Yes.
Which is a totally different thing. Some of us, more so than others,
Right.
in terms
Some
of
of us
age
have
and everything.
Right, no, like-
Children and families
Yeah,
and so on.
marriages.
Chilling at home.
And they don't care about your
Yeah.
undergrad.
Right.
They're like,
"Cool, that was 20 years ago.
yeah, they're like, my kids are in undergrad. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
seriously,
I don't know if anybody's that far, but
no.
Gosh.
But yeah, so hot takes. Tweet at us if you have differing opinions. We'd love to hear them.
Yeah.
Also email us if you have any hot takes from your experience in law school, or just in life in general. We're people that exist outside of law school. I know that's hard to believe sometimes
Yeah.
because this is what we're
especially
discussing.
listening to this.
Right.
But we would love to round out these identities that we're presenting to you. Anything else, guys?
I can't think of anything.
No.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, well, actually, John, we have a closing argument. Do you want to be a part of that?
Oh my gosh, you mean it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys sound like you were ending it.
Yeah. Joy, do you want to present the closing argument?
Okay, so our closing argument is
John, if you don't know, because I don't know if you listened to the first episode.
I did.
Closing arguments. What are closing arguments?
well,
Okay, Joy, if you don't know, I'll tell you both.
no, you were like, Joy, do you want to present our closing argument? And then you just cut me off.
Well,
it's fine, so
okay.
you go.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that our guests knew what's going on. Do you know
John,
what?
did you not listen to our last podcast?
I didn't make it all the way through.
Okay.
See,
great.
because I know John as a person, and I knew that was very likely. So, closing
Really picked
argument.
your first guest well.
I didn't pick him.
Oh.
Okay, we'll litigate this later. Okay. So
That's
John,
actually a
closing argument is just we're gonna argue about something non-law school related, just to for fun.
Yeah.
Because why not?
We like to argue.
Yeah, we do like to argue, even though it took us forever to come up with a topic because we kept agreeing on things.
Right.
So the idea is it's supposed to be a hot button, people are really divided on either side of it. So something versus something. I don't know. Coke versus Pepsi is a good one.
Right.
We tried doing Coke versus Dr. Pepper, but
We
it
both
didn't
saw
really
the
go
merits.
anywhere. Yeah. So this one, our closing argument is best Girl Scout cookies. Go.
Yes.
Wait, so do you have one? Do you have a favorite?
100%. Yeah.
A favorite? Oh, okay. Joy, what's your favorite?
Thin Mints.
Incorrect.
Obviously.
Tagalongs.
Also incorrect.
Oh,
Wait,
those
which
are
one?
so much worse.
Wait, which ones are those? Are those
They're
the peanut butter ones?
Yeah.
Okay, do you like those? Samoas are the
No,
best.
no. I don't like coconut on cookies. I also don't like coconut shavings.
What a special person you are.
I'm right there with her on both of those points.
Okay, so no.
So you're wrong.
No, okay.
Great.
One, Tagalongs melt and they like get like weirdly gooey and like not the way you want a cookie to be gooey, not like a chocolate chip gooey, but like someone like got bashed in their skull,
Oh my
like that kind of gooey. Not a fan.
So
Thin
don't-
Mints.
Are the best. I know. Oh my god. Good
No.
argument.
It's like if you put. It's.
I'm glad you make someone laugh.
Oh, yeah, I'm great. It's like you put like a York peppermint patty like on a scanner, and then scanned it through, and then you had little pieces of paper that were the shape and general color.
Are you trying to say that
That's what they
Mints
taste
don't
like.
have a taste, like that they taste like paper? Because they're very flavorful. So
They're
that's
actually
not.
not. They're kind of like
What?
they're dry. I don't like them.
They're not. They're covered in chocolate. What are you talking about? Especially, do you put yours in the freezer? That's the way to go.
I'm more against Thin Mints than I am against Samoas.
Are
so.
you serious?
Yeah, and I would. That is the reaction all the time. But I can give my stance if you want.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. I have some some opinions.
So-
on Samoas also.
I've just got a beef with anything mint flavored because
Oh.
I have always used mint toothpaste. So I think there's some real like Pavlovian stuff going on in my head where it's like I eat a Thin Mint and I just start going like this and it just doesn't go well for anybody.
Yeah, I was
and it
like-
also doesn't taste very good.
Okay, wait. Pause. Because no,
Oh.
not the podcast.
Okay.
Because this is a podcast and no one can see what John did
It doesn't
when he
matter.
said,
It
"I
doesn't
do
matter.
this."
He mimed brushing his teeth without a toothbrush. So we're gonna leave it to that. I also have never had chocolate and thought, you know what would make this better? Mint.
Okay, well,
Never in my life.
The only exception I'll make is mint gum, but that's because chewing mint gum
You
does
have
the same
chocolate
thing
mint
that
gum?
no, just mint.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
like I
yeah,
said, because
yeah.
I don't like mint flavored things, but
Yeah.
mint gum does the same thing that brushing your teeth does. It freshens your breath, so like I'm all good.
Okay, what Samoas are perfect though. Do you have
They're
anything?
not.
They
I
are.
told you why.
No,
they
it's a
suck.
textural tour de force. You have like the crisp of the coconut, the like drizzle of soft caramel. The cookie is like perfect and like it like has a nice like bite to it. Oh, it's perfect.
It's not, but okay.
Joy's just making a
I-
stank face. She has no argument.
See, I don't like the texture of coconut at all, so I don't like Samoas either. It's just like a little grainy. It's
Yeah.
like
Grainy?
it's
It's
And then
sand.
it gets like
it's like
caught in your mouth. Like
it's like reject
sticks there.
sandpaper.
Yeah.
Is what coconut is.
Okay.
It's like I don't know. I don't like things with like different consistency. Like I could do like one or two, but like that's a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well,
like,
it's
a
just.
lot going on.
So what's it like being a coward?
Oh my god.
Well,
I'm just surprised you let your tagalongs melt, and that's the only reason you don't like them.
okay. Well, I'm allergic to peanut butter, so
Oh,
I
yeah.
have like a real reason to not like tagalongs.
Yeah, real quote unquote.
Also, I don't like the chocolate peanut butter combo.
Because it kills you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I used to not be allergic to peanut butter. You can develop an allergy.
You can. It's really dangerous.
It's
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, it.
Like you
You're
just
telling me.
Like
Just
you,
one day.
you just ate peanut butter one day and you started
Literally.
dying.
Yeah. Well, so it had gone like a while without eating it, and then I ate it. We digress. Even when I wasn't allergic, I did not like tagalongs.
Wait, were you a Girl Scout?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, I knew that. But now our audience knows that you're a Girl Scout, Joy.
We didn't do like the fun camping stuff. We did like sewing and stuff.
Ew.
Yeah. Girl Scouts it's like 1000% based on like who your troop leader is. Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about Girl Scouts one day. Okay. Any more closing arguments about which Girl Scout? I think I won.
didn't.
We'll post.
Literally, we both
We'll post
said-
a poll on Twitter when
Okay.
this episode drops, lasting for a week. So next week we'll see who the winner is.
It'll
Fair.
be Thin Mints.
It'll
If
be-
you want more podcasts, you will vote Thin Mints.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Tagalong's it's like a cookie Reese's cup, and you get more crunch. A lot of good stuff going on.
Samoa just has all of it. It has.
Coconut energy
it has-
forever.
It's just all of it going together. It was
Reject sandpaper.
a very well thought out cookie. So yeah, vote Samoa, Team Samoa, hashtag.
Okay.
Okay. And
That's That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Thanks for listening, John. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be the inaugural guest.
Yes, hope to have you again soon.
Hopefully you'll listen to all of your podcasts.
Yeah.
I can guarantee I'll listen to this one.
Okay. We'll see if we edit you favorably. But thanks for watching. Remember to tweet us at
Bad Breaches.
on Twitter, and that's where you tweet people.
Yeah, I was like,
and then email us at
badbreaches@gmail.com.
with all of your ideas, comments, questions. Oh, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, which we are now on, be sure to rate and review us.
5 stars.
5 stars. Nothing less. We only accept the best.
If you don't think that we're worth 5 stars, shoot us an email and tell us how we could be 5 stars.
Yes.
And then rate us 5 stars when we do it.
Yes, those things. And be sure to share us with your friends. Anyone that's like in law school, considering going to law school, anyone that likes funny things. So we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Peace out, breaches.